Hello, and thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of the Struggles, Strength, and Success podcast. I am your host, Sharon Thomas. And once again, thank you for tuning in. We certainly do appreciate you tuning in and watching us live and being a part of us and being a part of our discussion. And we thank you for your support. So on tonight, we are so glad that we are here, that you are with us. Thank you. I see you commenting. So God bless you and thank you. So tonight, we have a special guest with us. And on tonight, we are going to be discussing thyroid disease. Now, thyroid disease, an estimated 20 million Americans have some form of thyroid disease. Up to 60% of those with thyroid disease are unaware of their condition. So on tonight, we're going to bring awareness. We have a special guest. She's all the way from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Amen. She is a loving wife, a mother of one. She's the founder and CEO of Elegant Persuasions, located in the city of Rocky Mount, North Carolina. She catered to your vision and she add a little twist. So when you call her to fix up your event, to decorate it, to make it beautiful look, she catered to your vision and she add a little twist to it. So, amen. This is a great woman. I've known her for a while. Amen. In her spirit, she's very nice. She don't meet as strangers. She can have a conversation with anybody. I remember when I first met her, I saw her passing by, but then she began to have a conversation with me, and I'm glad to know her. So on tonight, I introduced to some of you none other than this beautiful woman. She is so sweet. Her name is Yoshika Ellison, all the way from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. God bless you, Yoshika.
Bless you, Miss Sharon. I'm glad to be a part of this your podcast on today.
Yes.
Discussing something I know all too well, thyroid. So I thank you for having me.
Yes, and thank you so much for coming to bring awareness. As you know, I was talking with you, I was unaware. You know, I had one thought of what I thought it was, but you gave me great detail about thyroid disease. So tonight, we thank you for coming to share your information and just, you know, being transparent with us. And, you know, sometimes people don't want others to know their conditions, but we thank you for just sharing with us your situation and to bring enlightenment and understanding to others that are listening and to the audience. So tonight, Yoshika, I want to ask you, tell us about yourself. Who is Yoshika Ellison?
Well, like you said, I am a mother, first of all, of one son. I am a wife to Cardell Simpson. I am the owner of Elegant Persuasion, located here in Rocky Mount.
Yes.
And I'm just a person who is always willing and truly willing to educate and inform you on anything, not just thyroid. Anything that I know, I'm always willing to share. I have a passion of sharing. Sometimes I may share too much, but I love to share. That's how we learn from each other, as we grow from each other. It's about sharing with each other.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad to be here to share with you with my journey through this thyroid disease.
Yes. Well, we thank you. And we appreciate you and appreciate your information and your sharing and having the passion to bring awareness to others. So what was your day like before your diagnosis?
I guess, it was a normal life. I was very active. Always a go-getter. So I was always moving around at work. Nothing unusual. I didn't even, I would even never known I had thyroids. I I didn't. I mean, there was nothing unusual. We worked all the time. I met you at work, so we was
Yeah.
constantly working 6 and 7 days a week. So,
Yes.
you always was tired. So I didn't, wouldn't take that as a sign of having any disorder. I always been a slender person,
Mm-hmm.
so I wouldn't have noticed anything there. So I didn't even notice anything different about my life by having thyroids, or before I even knew I had thyroids. I didn't notice anything because I'm a person who really knows her body. I was struggling with one disease, and I didn't think anything of it, about the about some things I was going through. After I found out, when I found out I had thyroid disease, I knew why I was um I had started losing weight at one time,
Okay.
but I didn't take that as a sign or anything, because I always
Mhm.
been a 115 pounds for the
Okay.
longest time. So nothing unusual. I wasn't very active. I'm not athlete. I was not a person that go to the gym. I didn't need to. I was 115 pounds, very
Right.
healthy. No high blood pressure, no cholesterol. I was a healthy person. Nothing to be
Right.
concerned about.
Yes. And so on the day that you went to the hospital, I think you went to the emergency room.
Yes, I did.
What when so what caused you to go to the emergency room? What were your experience that provoked you to go to the emergency room?
Well, my heart rate,
Okay.
the day I found out I had I was at work, and I just noticed something funny. I'm like, okay, what is wrong with me? I felt very shaky and jittery. Um, like I went and had my blood pressure checked. My blood pressure was fine, but it was like I couldn't breathe, like I had been running. It's like my
Mm,
heart was racing. I can feel my heart pounding out of my chest. I'm like, what is wrong? I went
yeah.
to the restroom and I just sat on the floor. I'm like, something is wrong with me. I don't know. Cause like I said,
Okay.
I'm very aware of my body. I know how I should be feeling at all times. But it just wasn't right. I mean, I could breathe, but it felt like I've been running the whole time. When I know, when I was at work that day, I wasn't doing anything. Anybody know me? Sometimes I'm not doing nothing at work. So I knew it was because I was running around at work, because I was just
Mhm.
still. So
Yes.
I went. I was rushed to the hospital, to my well, not to the ER. I actually
Okay.
went to my primary care. My primary care doctor was able to see me, because I'm like, I don't want to go to the Tarbor
Mhm.
emergency room. So I went to my family medical center, saw my primary care doctor, and they didn't know what's wrong with me. They did an EKG on me, and
Mhm.
then they said they're gonna run some labs on me. They ran the labs on me. I'm sitting in the waiting room for the longest. I mean, in the patient room. I'm waiting for for a while. I'm looking like, what is
Okay.
wrong? I'm ready to go.
Mhm.
And he walks in, I do my labs, come back, I'm sitting there. Because at first it was just him by himself. Then he come in with another doctor. I'm looking like, what's
Mhm.
wrong? Why is it two of you guys in here now? And they
Mhm.
saying, do you have any history of thyroid disease? I'm looking like,
Okay.
I said, no, I don't know anyone. My mom was the only child, so we can't
Mhm.
trace history because she's the only child. So
Right.
I knew my aunt had thyroids, but nothing else. Like my great aunt, some like no close family member has thyroids. So when he
Right.
said when he said the word Graves' disease, I like kind of panicked. I'm like, Graves' disease? Are you okay? I just been dealing with endometriosis, trying to fight endometriosis, and there you were telling me I have Graves' disease. So you saying Graves? Am I about to die? Because it's two of you guys in here now. So why is this so serious that you had to bring another doctor in here to tell me I have Graves' disease? You're like,
Mm.
it's a thyroid condition. So I'm in panic mode because I don't know
Yes.
what thyroid is.
Right.
So it was a very scary moment when they first told me. um,
Right.
I mean, I can feel it right now just telling you about how I actually felt that day. It
Mm.
was very intense for me. I was anxious to get home to read up on thyroid disease, because if
Right.
anyone knows me, I'm gonna Google and research every medication you give me, every
Mhm.
diagnosis you're gonna give me. I'm gonna research it to the fullest, because that's just
Right.
me. I'm not going to take anything you just tell me. I'm going to research it first.
Right. And so, for those of you who do not know, the thyroid gland is a vital hormone gland, and it plays a major role in the metabolism, growth, and development of the human body. Now, it helps to regulate many body functions by constantly releasing a steady amount of thyroid hormones into the bloodstream. And it regulates how fast you burn calories, how fast your heart beat. And as Yoshika was saying, her heart was racing. So Yoshika, before you was diagnosed, were you educated about thyroid disease?
No, I was not. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was not aware of thyroid disease at all. I don't even remember, don't even think I ever heard of thyroid disease. I can't remember them even mentioning thyroid disease or running a panel on me doing my yearly physicals, along with your other blood work that you have, your other labs, you do every single year. No, I was not educated on thyroid disease at all.
Yes. So, what were your symptoms before diagnosis? Did you notice any changes in your health now that you look back before you were diagnosed? Did you see any changes in your health?
Well, I did notice after before I was diagnosed, I could remember losing weight for no reason, but I didn't take that as a symptom of anything because, like I said, I always was a thin person.
Okay.
I noticed a few times that I had like heart palpitations, but I didn't think of nothing of that. Where I could hear my heartbeat and laying in the bed, I could actually hear my heartbeat, loudly.
Wow.
I would never even known I had thyroid disease if it wasn't for me having endometriosis. I was put on a medication for endometriosis to treat that. And that's what triggered my thyroid symptoms. Because the medication that was out on with endometriosis was putting me into like it put me into like I was having menopause. So along with my menopause symptoms, because it gave me all the symptoms of menopause, not knowing that I had thyroid. So I started developing more and more thyroid symptoms. And that's when my heart rate was racing because I was on that medication. So it triggered my thyroid. So it made my heart race 137. It made me always hot. It made me I wouldn't sleep well at nighttime. So it gave me the insomnia, not knowing that I had thyroid. When that medication, it was actually made me know that I have thyroid disease. If it wasn't for the medication, I probably would never known that quickly that I had thyroid disease.
Okay, so can you tell us about your after you were diagnosed, what kind of treatment did you receive?
After I was diagnosed, I was put on medication, a beta blocker, and I was put on a medication. I can't remember the name of it, but it was just to treat it to see, because we had a choice before. When I went to the doctor, he asked me if I wanted to do the medication and the beta blocker. I can't think of the name of it right now, and I have it in my notes somewhere. But or if I wanted to do the radiation. So I chose to do the medication, but the medication that I was taking, it didn't work for me. It actually gave me an allergic reaction. So I broke out in hives. So, and I was lucky to get into my endocrinology as soon as I did, because I was diagnosed one day. The very next day, I was in an endocrinologist. When it's hard to get in those doctors, it sometimes takes months to get into those doctors. So I was very fortunate to get in that doctor, get in with my with Dr. Armand Drake over there at Brody Medicine, School of Medicine in Greenville. And he put me on the medication, and I wish I could know the name of it, but they did give me hives, and it didn't work for me. So I ended up having to do the radiation, the iodine radiation. And the radiation was scary to me because like I said, I'm still fairly new at this iodine radiation. And you think of radiation, I think about cancer.
Right.
I'm looking like, okay, what is this going to be? But this actually was a little pill, and the pill came to me in like a time capsule. That's only that I can imagine it being, like a metal time capsule. It was a steel metal capsule. Inside that capsule was another capsule. Inside that smaller capsule was the pill inside a cup, where I couldn't touch this pill at all. So I had to, all I did was just take this pill. I was put in a room by myself for 2 hours. I guess because you can't be around people. You can't be around people or within arm length of people with this radiation. So for 2 hours, I had to stay in this room by myself. And 2, it was time for me to be around, a few people for a certain number, for a certain time. But and as you sit in there, you're looking like, okay, this is scary. I don't know what this pill gonna do to me. If you saying radiation, I'm thinking about cancer. Is my hair gonna fall out? What's gonna happen to me when I take this medication? Yes. I didn't know. But nothing really happened to me. Actually, all I had to do was stay within arm length of people. I couldn't use the bathroom with everyone else. I had to have my own personal bathroom, my own utensils, my own cups, own plates. Even if I went to the bathroom, if I had to share a bathroom, I had to make sure I stayed there for a few minutes and flush and wipe down before I came out, so I wouldn't pass on the radiation.
Wow.
So it was like a scary moment for me, because it's all new to me. But I did a very good job of educating myself, because I was taken out of work for 2 months. Yeah. 2 to 3 months. So within 2 or 3 months, I am, when I say I research everything about Graves' disease and thyroid disease, because when I say I had Graves' disease, now I have one disease, but when I take the radiation, it put me into another category of thyroids, because you got Graves' disease, which is like an overactive. And then when my body is running too fast, everything is in my body is going too fast. So I'm like hyper. So Graves' disease and hyper is about the same. So, and then when you take the radiation, it puts me into hypo, where hypo is very slow, where everything slows down. My heart rate slows down. My blood pressure go down. My heart, everything is just slow. I get cold instead of being hot. So it's just the opposite of being hyper.
Okay. So when you were diagnosed, when you took the radiation, did it, deplete you from the symptoms? Did the symptoms go away? Did it deplete your energy? How did it make you feel, the radiation?
The radiation I didn't feel anything. When I took the pill, only thing that I noticed, I probably taste metal. That's the only thing that was different. There was nothing else wrong that I could see. I was still had some my heart rate was going down, as long as I stayed, didn't do any work, because like I said, I've taken out of work for a while, so I can keep my heart rate down.
Okay.
So I, make sure. He just told me I couldn't really do anything. All I had to do was just sit home and do nothing. I couldn't even mop the floor. He didn't want me doing anything that was going to cost me to raise my heart rate, until, it was time for me to take my medication, to get on my hypo medication.
Okay. So Yoshika, can you tell us about a typical day, living with thyroid disease, and how it may affect your daily activities, or does it affect your daily activities?
Well, it does. Some people it doesn't, and some people it does. The most complaint I hear about thyroid disease, and with me as well, is that we are always tired. No matter how much sleep we get, we are always tired. People may call it lazy, but we are not. We are always tired. By we being hypo, we are always cold. Our heart rate is not, my heart rate is normal. Sometimes I may still have palpitations, and the anxiety is something that's, I see that I do suffer with anxiety a lot. And the doctors, your primary care doctors, seem to think that as long as our blood work is fine, that our symptoms should go away, but they do not go away, because they don't understand, because this disease is still unknown to them. They don't know why we have this disease. They don't know. You can ask them and they don't know. So all they do is go by numbers. So if you go in there saying, I'm suffering with depression, because it does cause you to have depression. Okay. And sometimes you do get depressed. because you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're alone and you're constantly, your body is hurting, you have aches and pains, stiffness in your joint, your eyes are bulging, your eyes are watery. It's just those little things. You can't lose weight, because with hypo you gain weight.
Okay.
And you can't lose weight as easily as you as normal people. It's always in our midsection, and our face always stay puffy. You can tell when your thyroid disease is, your numbers are abnormal by just looking at your eyes. If they're puffy, and your the puffiness of your eyes, and you can have like one eye bigger than the other, and you can, like, I know, like, okay, my thyroid levels are off just by those
Wow.
signs.
Okay. Okay. And so that's so how does it affect your daily activity? Do it um make you slow down where you don't feel like getting out of, I know sometimes you probably don't feel like getting out of bed. You probably don't feel like doing anything. So what is your motivation, to, press forward to keep going?
I think by me being in the industry that I am in with
Mm-hmm.
event design, that keeps me going. That keeps, excuse me, that keeps my mind off my problems, my stiffness on my joints. And if I'm going into depression, I found that that the design of just a flower can make me it changed my mood. And by me
Okay.
helping others, just seeing somebody making a flower arrangement and make somebody smile, that makes me come out of
Mm-hmm.
depression, or that gets me out of bed, especially on the weekends. Because like
Yeah.
right now, I can stay in bed all day, all night. Doesn't mean that I'm at night now I'm up, but during the daytime I'm sleepy. Because I mean,
Yes.
you don't want to move. So we have insomnia. The insomnia is crazy. Where to a point now, I have to take medication just to go to sleep, because I don't sleep all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm up all night long. But I cope with my thyroid disease by
Mm-hmm.
doing my events. So I have
Okay.
found that doing events has kept me motivated. It keeps me going. I think if I didn't have this hobby, you have to get
Mm-hmm.
a hobby that's going to help you come out of depression, because anxiety and depression with thyroid disease, it's real, because you can sit in your room and just cry for no
Mm-hmm.
reason, and you don't know why you're crying.
Oh.
Anything can trigger you to be in depression. Someone
Mm-hmm.
can say something to you wrong, and I'm depressed.
Mm-hmm. So you also have memory fog, right?
Oh
Is that a
yes,
symptom of it as well?
yes. You have um your fog memory, and
Uh-huh.
I I don't think I suffer with it so much now, because I
Okay.
don't have anything I have to do. I can't remember when I was working that I did have fog. My memory was fog, because I couldn't remember sometimes to if I punched in or not, if I
Okay.
clocked in. And that's because my levels was off, my thyroid levels was off. So it gave
Mm-hmm.
me brain fog. So but even with the daily routine of just taking a bath, if I
Mm-hmm.
don't do them in that same order every single day, I wouldn't know. I forget, like, okay, did I do this? So I do things in the same order every day, so I won't forget. So even with my medication, now I'm bad with my medication, because if I don't take it first thing in the morning, I forget. And then
Okay.
sometimes if I do take it in the morning and by the afternoon come, I'm like, okay, did you take the medication? I'm like, I can't remember if I took my medication, and I don't take it at all, because I don't want to double dose.
Mm-hmm.
But it does give you brain fog.
Okay. And women are 5 to 8 times more likely than men to have thyroid problems. And so that's why we are having this podcast on tonight, to bring awareness. And if you hear Yoshika, she's sharing her story, being transparent just so she can give information to bring awareness to others and those that are listening. I want to read some of the comments, Yoshika.
Mhm.
Um, someone said, they said, amen. Someone said, Aketra Whitaker,
Uh-huh.
she said, but God. Vivian Lynch says, so true. That's how I am some days, and Aketra says she can relate to the symptoms as well. She said, great information being shared. Um, She said, Aketra said, this is helping me. This is something that is hardly ever discussed, but silently lived and dealt with.
Right.
And Jesse Thomas said, amen. And Sherry Stancer said, great information. You're getting a lot of hearts and a lot of care, hugs. So thank you all for tuning in. So Yoshika, is there any information that you would like to share to encourage those that are, some that are already dealing with thyroid disease?
Yeah, I just want them to, I guess to stay encouraged and know that they are not alone. We do have to sometimes get together and bring, to lift each other up, because we do suffer from a silent disease. And I call it, it's our it's a silent disease. No one discusses it. You can't see our you can't see our condition physically. You don't know what we go through a daily basis. So it's an invisible. That's what I call it, our invisible disease. We're a part of a group that a lot of invisible disease. Depression is invisible because we mask that. The lupus, you can't, that's masked. MS is masked, along with thyroid disease. There's so many more invisible diseases that I want us to come together and just encourage each other, just show that someone cares. Because sometimes a listening ear just say, hear your problems or what you're going through. We can see what each other has done to get us through the day, or how do I remember to take my medication, or what should I ask my doctor, or who should I go see? Because your primary care, they the least person, they know the least about this disease. So, we just need to be with one another, come as groups, or, come together as one to stay encouraged and to educate each other on the disease and help each other out as much as we can, because we are invisible. People cannot see our disease and how we're suffering every single day in silence, in our room or on our couch, because we want to get up. We want to get up and be active. We want to lose the weight. We don't want to have cholesterol, because, this can lead to heart disease as well. So we're going through all these things. Thyroid your levels can cause much more other diseases than just your thyroid. It can affect your heart, your cholesterol. All of this is we just need to come together and help each other out. And that's what I want. And I'm very glad that you chose to do this podcast, even if it wasn't just for me. It's just to educate on thyroids. We need more awareness like this, and we need more groups to come together and help each other, because we have to stay prayed up and have to stay educated to get through this.
That is absolutely true. And Sheila Jenkins said that is so true. And Denisha McGuire Lowe, she said she never imagined that you have gone through so much. She never imagined that, because you don't wear it on your face. You don't wear it. You really don't.
Right.
And Tanya Parker said, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's mask. Like I said, we wear a mask. Like I said, depression, you got a mask on. We wear a mask. We put on a smiling face. Even though we're hurting, we still put on a smiling face to cover up the pain that we're actually going through.
Amen. That's so true. Tanya Parker said, thank you for sharing. Sherry Stanton said, is there an age to get checked to see if you have thyroid disease?
I say no. I read that, people in their 40s, the most likely get it when you're in your 40s. Hey, I was 30? When I guess I was 30 when I found that I had Graves' disease. I say no. I say just ask your doctor for a panel. Can you run a thyroid? If you're having any symptoms, and the symptoms can be, menstrual cycle, you being too hot or you being too cold, you can't lose weight or you're losing weight, your heart rate, stiffness of your joint, the depression, the anxiety, especially if you touch your neck and you feel that your glands are swollen, ask them about that. The insomnia, the puffiness of the skin, the diarrhea, If you have any of those symptoms, I say ask for a panel, because they're not going to give you a panel unless you're going through symptoms. My son was, when I found that I had thyroid disease, I asked them to run the panel on my son. They wouldn't.
Right.
They said my insurance wouldn't cover it because he was not having any symptoms.
Wow.
Now, here recently, before he turned 18, I asked him to run a panel on him. I said, I have thyroid disease. My sister also have thyroid disease. I said, so we have this condition that runs in our family. And I know it only, affect more women than men, but I know men who have thyroid disease and who have the same symptoms that I have. So I asked them to run a panel on my son, and they did this time. I don't know, only because, it runs in our family now.
Okay.
But before, when I first asked, they told me no, because my insurance wouldn't cover. And I had the insurance is Blue Cross Blue Shield. Hey, and he still wouldn't run on my son.
Oh, wow.
But I say, if you have symptoms of any of those symptoms, you look up on Google, ask for a thyroid panel.
Yes.
Because my whole thing is, if Miss Sharon, I want to share this one thing with you, because the menopause symptoms and the thyroid symptoms are very similar. And sometimes you may think you're going through menopause. And I want to share this because my mom I found out my mom died of thyroid disease. We're thinking that she's going through menopause disease because it gives you some of the same symptoms, the hot flashes, losing her weight, the anxiety, the mood swings and stuff. But in the end, it's really what the untreated thyroid disease that killed my mom. Because her symptoms was my symptoms. I'm looking like, oh wow, I have to go. So when they come to me with these symptoms, I'm looking like, okay, I got the same symptoms my mom had. Am I about to die? Because it's the same symptoms in the same order. So so don't get misled. So if you have any symptoms, ask them, because like I said, menopause was mistaken when she really actually had thyroid disease, when she couldn't breathe, catch her breath. No, it's not. She didn't have menopause. She wasn't going through menopause. She actually had thyroid disease, untreated, undiagnosed thyroid disease, and it caused her death.
Oh, and so you said it's similar to menopause. The symptoms.
Some of the symptoms are.
So Tanya Parker said, you are definitely inspiring to keep going even through your pain. Vivian Lynch said, exactly, because she be going through days where you are tired, where she is tired. Keitra said, Yoshika, based on your experience, are there certain foods one should avoid with dealing with thyroid disease?
Now, this is the tricky part. It all depends on what thyroid disease you have, the hypo or the hyper. I do know some of the foods that you shouldn't eat. And I know the main, some of them are the basic food that you think that are healthy for you, you shouldn't eat. And let's start with your greens, like broccoli and kale and spinach, and those green leaf vegetables. We should not have. There's no special diet. They say no special diet, but you shouldn't have too much of it, because it can interfere with the treatment. And I say the treatment interfere with the absorbent of your medication. So that's why you shouldn't have. That's why they want you to take the medication first thing in the morning, so you won't eat nothing that's going to interfere with the absorbent of the treatment of your thyroids. So let's say strawberries. They say you shouldn't have strawberries. Strawberries. It's a whole list that's on Google. Let's say sweet potatoes. You shouldn't have sweet potatoes. Peanuts. You shouldn't eat peanuts. You shouldn't drink no fatty foods, no sugar. Soy. They even saying soy. You think soy is good for you, but it's not. When you have thyroids, it's not at all. The gluten, you shouldn't do gluten at all, because it can mess with the absorption of your medication. And if you're going to have these foods, it has to be done 4 hours before or 4 hours after you take the medication. Not saying we can't have it, we just can't have it as much. With the broccoli and the kales and the collards and stuff. We're not collards. If the broccoli and the kale and the spinach is cooked, it's fine. It's the raw vegetables that we have to worry about. So if they are cooked, we are good.
Okay. Now, so you can't cook it,
You should cook it.
You should cook it, but you can't eat it
You shouldn't
raw.
eat it raw. You should not
Like,
eat it
because I
raw.
know sometimes people like it in their salads. Like I like it in my salads, like
Right.
raw spinach. So it's not good to eat raw spinach. Now, is someone named Social Butterfly Maze? She says she was diagnosed with thyroid disease at the age of 11. So when Sherry Stansel asked that question, is there an age? This young lady was diagnosed at the age of 11.
Wow.
And she said she had surgery as well.
Right, because some do have the surgery. My doctor just chose not to have the surgery, because I do know people who had the surgery, and their vocal cords may have got scratched in the process. Sometimes they want to take it out and see, make sure it's not cancerous. But I and like Miss Ann said, I would never have known someone that young to have thyroid disease. I've never known that.
Yes.
And for her saying age 11, that's a long time.
Yes.
To be suffering with this disease. Imagine that she's grown now. So she's been suffering ever since age 11 with thyroid disease in silent.
Yes. And as I was, researching, I also saw, because I was wondering about removing, as me and you were having a conversation, about removing the thyroid gland. And it said you could still live a productive life without your thyroid gland. So you can still, be productive. You can still live your life, do your daily activities, but it have to be replaced with medication.
Right. So, we're all on the same medication. I'm pretty sure all of them, everybody's on Synthret. Even Synthra or Synthret, I'm not pronouncing it right, but it's the same medication. Basically, whether you had to remove or you took the iodine radiation, we're all on the same medication. We may be on all different levels of medication, but we all take the same medication about.
Okay.
I don't even know any no home remedies that we can take for to help control our thyroid disease.
Yes. And so we need to, get it checked, because like Yoshika was saying, the symptoms of thyroid disease and menopause are similar. They're almost just alike. Am I right, Yoshika? They're almost just alike. Yeah. And we could be, you could be confused about if you have it or not. So Yoshika, could you explain to us about Graves' disease? Now, in thyroid disease, is there other diseases that comes with thyroid disease? And I know you say you have Graves' disease, but are there any others?
You saying it's any other, as far as I did have Graves' disease, but now since I took the radiation, I have hypothyroidism.
Okay.
So once I took the radiation, and once you have it removed, we all go into hypo. So we go from hyper, because Graves' disease is just like hyper, and hyper is with our hormones we produce too much, where our body is running fast, and hyper is when we are hypo is when we slow everything down. So I went from having Graves' disease, taking the medication, the iodine radiation, and now I'm hypo.
Okay. So if you for those of you who are listening, and if you're not aware, this is the same disease. The Graves' disease is what Wendy Williams have, correct?
Right.
And
exactly.
You named one, and it was one other person.
I know Missy Elliott. She has thyroid disease. I'm not sure what form she has, but I know she has thyroid disease. And you can even tell a thyroid patient by the bulging of the eyes. You see, Graves' disease gives you the bulging eyes and the puffy neck.
Okay.
That's what Graves' disease. Sometimes you see people with really big eyes, you say, oh, do you have thyroid disease? Because they relate the thyroid disease, especially with hyper or Graves' disease, with the bigness of the eyes. And you look at Missy Elliott's eyes, she had Graves' disease. I want to say she had Graves' disease because you can tell the bulging of her eyes. Wendy Williams' eyes, you see her eyes, they are bulging. And that's one of the things that Graves' disease does. It can have protruding eyes, and sometimes they can be so protruding that you have to get them set back into your eyes. That's your key sign with Graves' disease, is the bulging of the eyes.
Okay. So I pray that you all were enlightened and made aware of this, because this is not something that should be overlooked or taken lightly, but this is something serious. And like I was sharing with Yoshika, I would hear people having a conversation about thyroid, and they would say, oh, well, her thyroids are overactive, so she's losing weight, or his thyroids are underactive, so he's gaining weight. So I didn't know that it was more to thyroid disease than what I was thinking, because I was just thinking, hey, if you have problems with thyroid, you might lose some weight or you might gain weight. And I thought that was it. That was all to it. But as I had a conversation with Yoshika, she brought enlightenment, and she made me aware of what it really was, what the details of thyroid disease was. And so I pray that it helps someone. So I want to ask, do anyone have any questions that they would like to ask Yoshika? Do anybody have any questions? Oh, someone said, well, you were naming the food. They said, stop it. You're taking away all my favorite.
I'm sorry.
But my life but she said, but my life and health is more precious. So she rather, abstain from the certain foods because her life and her health is more precious. Janika Jones said, yes, it can affect a lot of things. So thank you all for tuning in. And Yoshika, is there anything else you would like to say to the listeners and the audience on tonight?
Just thank you for joining us, and I hope that we that Miss Sharon and I gave y'all some enlightening information, and that we would like that you will go we encourage you guys to get your thyroids checked, because you can check it at home if you want to. Drink some water, put your hand on your neck, and still do see any girdles, if any lumps in your neck. If you got a banana shape in your neck, don't think it's fat meat. Make sure it's not a goiter that's have been grown in your neck. So I'm hoping that we enlighten you guys on thyroid disease and encourage you to go get tested, and just don't take it as as, oh no, you just got thyroid disease and nothing wrong with you, because it's much more, because it can affect every part of your body. You just you don't know.
So Danny said you did a great job. Sherry said, great job, sis. Someone said they're proud of you. Danny said he's proud of you, Yoshika. And Janika said, this is awesome information. So we thank you all for tuning in on tonight. And God bless you. And we know the Lord is with you, and God be with you. Peace and grace be with you. And we know the Lord. So Yoshika, I have one more thing I want to ask you. So what, do you have a support system? And
yeah, my support system when I was going through Graves' disease was real. I say, my god sisters and her sister, my husband, at the time with my boyfriend, my son, my father. Even if I was going to do radiation or just get my lab work done, at first they was there with me at every single appointment. So my support system was great when I first started. Now my husband is my partner now, and that's my support system. My sister, we both encourage each other, because we're going through the same thing basically at the same time. But yes, I have a good support system, and that's my husband, because he prays for me every single day that I overcome all my anxieties, my aches and pain. So yes, even if a team of one or a team of two, my support system is great.
Yes, that is so wonderful. So God bless you, Yoshika, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For coming and sharing with us, because this, like someone said, this is something that's rarely discussed. You rarely hear about it. And so I thank you so much for just coming and being transparent with us, and just sharing with us, and just pouring out your heart, with us, and having the passion to bring awareness, and like you said, about anything somebody want to know and they can ask you and you have answers, I know you will assist them. So
I
we
sure
thank
will.
you for coming and just bringing awareness about thyroid disease. And thank you because, with the conversation I had with you, like I said, it brought awareness to me and it gave me information about thyroid disease. So
Right.
thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
bless you and your family. And to all of you that tuned in, thank you so much for joining us. And we appreciate you. We love you. God bless you. May the Lord continue to bless you and increase you and continue to bless you in your health, your wealth, and bless your business. So, Yoshika, share your information about your business, how they can reach you, where you are located.
We are Elegant Persuasion. We are located here in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, on 301 Westland Boulevard. You can reach me by phone, email, or y'all favorite place, Facebook.
Okay,
And
so
once again, I do thank you, Miss Sharon, for having me
thank
up
you.
here. It was a pleasure and an honor to be here. I wouldn't even imagine myself doing this, but I am very encouraged. You have encouraged me to do more and to share more about thyroid awareness.
Yes.
This is just the first step, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. And also, Yoshika, someone may want to bless you. Do you have a Cash App or a PayPal where they can bless you?
Well, my Cash App is at Y. My Cash App is $Y Elegant, same as my business name. If you send funds, I do thank you. That's not what I really expected, but I really do say thank you if you do. And like once again, just thanks for having me. That means more to me than anything is to share the information. That means a lot to me that I was able to share my story, my journey, and my continuous journey with this disease.
Yes, and like someone said, we are so proud of you. And like Denisha said, looking at you, we would never know that you were experiencing, these things and going through those things that will have your body tired and have pain and memory fog. And just to see you pushing and persevering and just going forward, it is encouraging and it's very inspiring just to see that. And sometimes a lot of people don't, like I said, they don't want to share the information, or they do share it and
they give you limited information. That's all.
Limited information.
Right. I call it give you limited information.
Yes. And so, but we thank you. Thank you so much, Yoshika. I mean, I can't thank you enough, and I'm sure the other ones, they're giving you hearts and hands up, hearts. And Sheila Jenkins says she's so proud of you. Oh, good to see you too, Sheila. God bless you. God bless you. Somebody said you are the bomb.
Okay, I'm the bomb now. Okay.
Aketra, I think I'm saying her name right.
Yes, Miss Aketra.
She said you are the bomb. So God bless you all, and thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Struggle, Strength, and Success podcast. And we hope to see you again soon. And Yoshika, maybe you come back and share some more information.
I will,
because I know there's yes, okay. And so y'all go check out Yoshika Elegant Persuasion in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Give the address again, Yoshika.
1112 South Westland Boulevard, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, 27803.
Yes, and her Cash App is the letter YELEGANCE. Is that right, Yoshika?
Y Elegant. $ capital YELEGANT. Elegant.
Oh, elegant.
Yes. Just like my business name, Elegant.
Okay, elegant. Okay, so if y'all want to bless her, just go ahead on and send that blessing to YELEGANT. Okay, so God bless you and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Struggle, Strength, and Success podcast. Have a blessed night. God bless you.
You have a blessed one. Bless you, Miss Sharon.